I'm Savannah. Welcome to the first episode in my character design series for Forsaken Legacy, a fantasy show I'm making from scratch here on YouTube. For this series, I'm going to be designing the characters, talking through their story and lore, and showing you the design process. But first I figured I'd read you the blurb for the series to let you get a feel for what this story is going to be. So, here's that. After being taken in by scholars in the capital city of Wit, Snowshoe Kitten Nyx studies the monsters who destroyed her village. But when a message arrives from the gods, a message only she can translate, Nyx is forced to leave the safety of the capital's walls and embark on a journey she wasn't chosen for. As she learns more about the threat beyond the kingdom's borders, she is forced to question what she knows about the kingdoms she's lived in all her life. With the Forsaken generals planning to free their creators from his prison, will Nyx help save the world? Or is she destined to destroy it? So that's the blurb for Forsaken Legacy. Feel free to leave your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Another thing about the show is it's going to be photosensitive viewer friendly. Basically, I wanted to make a show that people with seizures could enjoy, because I have seizures and it's really annoying having to find seizure-friendly shows. But that's aside the point. I'm gonna let the time-lapse finish, and then we'll jump into the first character. So the first character we're going to be covering today is the messenger that comes to get Nyx when she's summoned to the throne room. He's a Singapuric British short-hair crossbreed, and his personality is artistic, nervous, and gentle. I gave him big expressive eyes, a curly swoop of hair that makes him look cute, and a thin, whip-like tail because that's one of the traits he rolled on the character dice roller things that I made. His nervous nature stems from one of his parents, who we'll see in episode 2. For his outfit, I googled medieval messenger and scrolled down until I found a human person. I used that as a reference image. I haven't named him yet, so feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments down below. Though first I should explain how naming works in the kingdom he lives in. In the kingdom of Wit, kittens are given a temporary name, based off a physical trait usually, such as Mocha, Jade, or his was most likely Emerald. At 7 years old, they spend the night in some sort of place that's sacred to their hometown, silently reflecting, and in the morning they announce their new name. This is usually followed by a celebration in their honor. If they fall asleep during their silent reflection, they have to wait another year before trying again, and if they decide later on in life that the name no longer fits them, they can choose to take the rite again. And that's all for the messenger. I'll let the video play out now and see you at the next character. on to the next character, this is Queen J, the ruler of the Kingdom of Wit. For her breed, I went with the Turkish Angora because that's what I think of when I think of expensive-looking cats, probably due to her being the same breed as Duchess from the Aristocats. Her personality role was meticulous, manipulative, romantic. So, she's a total shipper. Matchmaking is her hobby, and to be honest, she does that more than she actually rules her kingdom. Her shape language is circles and triangles. Circles to represent the romantic portion of her personality, and triangles to represent the meticulous and manipulative side of her personality. She's a little bit chubby, but with pointy face fluff and a pointy crown. For her markings, I went with the markings from the reference photo that I was using, because that Angora was just really, really pretty. And for her outfit, I googled, I think it was royal dresses or something along those lines. And I found this really pretty blue one that had a fur-lined cloak. So I simplified that one for her. As I said earlier, she barely does any of the actual ruling in her kingdom. She mostly just reads romance novels and sets people up on dates. In her kingdom, any type of book is easy to come by. The Kingdom of Wit is basically made up of giant libraries and greenhouses. Even her throne room is basically just a library with a fancy chair in it. When coming up with the concept for the Kingdom of Wit, I just thought of what I would want if I had a kingdom, and the answer was books and plants. Books and plants. Anyway, that's all I have to say on Queen J, so I'm going to let the speed paint play out, and see you when it gets done. They say if you hear a lullaby in the woods at night, Lady Chime is nearby. Lady Chime's story is a tragic one. Once a merchant in the Kingdom of Lightning, she was exiled for some unknown reason, found by Fang and turned into a Forsaken. Her personality was deadpan, patient, and cynical. But by now, her past self is long forgotten. She's the first Forsaken we will see in the show, and the reason Nyx lives in the capital. The Forsaken were once civilians, but through Fang's dark magic they became what they are now. For Lady Chime, I wanted her to be mainly built for capturing, so she has this scorpion-like stinger that injects paralyzing toxin, but it doesn't kill. I assigned each Forsaken their own sound cue, and some sort of instinct that transferred over when they became what they are now. Her instinct is, when she sees a mirror or her reflection, she falls into a trance, as if realizing what she now looks like. As for the monstrous traits she rolled to have aside from the stinger, she has transparent crystal teeth, her forehead is marked with the symbol of Fang, and the spikes along anywhere that she has received a wound. The Forsaken heal unnaturally fast, and I actually tied the spikes into her healing factor. Whenever she receives an injury, she grows spikes where the wounds are. The small injury on her leg was a burn mark she had on her arm when she was still a civilian. For her shape language, I went pretty much all triangles. I wanted her to look sharp and pointy. The spikes act as natural armor and are incredibly hard to break. I made her eyes a little bit more unsettling by not giving her pupils, and to show that she used to be fully bipedal, I gave her the same legs as the bipedal characters in the show, which in my opinion makes her look a little bit more unsettling. So that's all I have to say about her. I'll let the time-lapse play out, and then we'll take a look at the final results. And that's episode 1. Thank you so much for watching. In the next episode, I'm going to be covering 2 guards and the Queen's attendant / advisor. Let me know in the comments down below which character was your favorite. Would you trust your queen to set you up? And I made an alternate color scheme for Lady Chime. Let me know which one you prefer, option 1 or option 2. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. See you then.